Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.
Good morning, Doc. How are you this morning?
Not one of my best Mondays, but I'm up and going.
Why not?
Man, there's a physical thing here. Well, actually, it's pull muscle or something, or stiff neck or something. I don't know.
Doc, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 18 anymore, you know.
Well, that's why I'm trying to remind you of that.
I try to maintain the energy of a young man, but every now and again stuff happens. I don't know how that. Usually I'm in good health and really fit and everything, but I don't know. It's hard to turn from one direction to the other. It's just, you ever had a stiff neck? It's not fun.
Okay, I know I've had them, and they're quite painful indeed. So let's go. You know, we have a structure. You and I.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm waiting on you.
Let's look at what we've been discussing this morning. Dr. Murray and his wife. Dr. Murray came out this morning, quite passionate this morning, about acquisition. The government has moved to acquire his family lands, and it's been done in a way of which Dr. Murray and the family deemed that is unfair, unethical, immoral, and unjustified. That's one.
I'm listening, you know. I'm listening.
Yeah. I said that's one.
Okay, so you what is it? So you just put it on the table, or you asking me to?
Yeah, I'm asking you to comment on that. Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead.
I listened to.
You listened to it?
I listened to Major Leacock. I was listening to him outline a case very cogently in terms of building a rational and a kind of argument and speaking about an MO of the government. I was listening with interest, and then that got interrupted by a call by Dr. Murray, and that just, Bing, you have to understand, and my listeners, you have to understand, when I listen, I try to listen well. I teach people, I say, well, one of the best things you should always do, don't dismiss people, listen them, that's how you learn. Even if they're criticizing you to the hilt, listen them. Good listeners learn, and you learn a lot. So I listened to Dr. Murray and his presentation, and the way it hit me. And then it was a totally different presentation on the matter than Major Leacock gave. And I don't know, from my perspective, if he, a man, maybe he's entitled to his passion, and maybe he's entitled to say some of the things he's saying. But I don't know. Let me ask you a question. I don't know that in presenting a case to the Vincentian, how much good it does to, particularly if, you have a position where perhaps you were not born here or not. I don't know how good it is if somebody who is seen by some as an outsider, how much good it is to have some, calling Vincentians idiotic and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that you do.
Who did that?
I don't know if you're doing a whole lot of good to your case by doing that, okay? And followers of the idiotic Vincentians who are following the idiots and stuff like that. I mean, we could do without that. That's why I said Major Leacock was presenting, and I'm the kind of guy. You don't just make decisions on parties and politics and all of that. You listen to the details and the facts of the case, void of emotion. And I thought that Major Leacock was building a case about bigger bigs and all of that. And I was beginning to ask myself, with respect to the trend of the discussion, whether or not land acquisition of this nature, because outside of the Argyle airport, land acquisition of another nature, I was listening to see if it was only people of a particular kilt, if it was only this sector of people whose lands were being acquired. And I was listening to see if people of a different kilt, if their lands were being acquired. Try to make an assessment as to if Group A, if people in Group A are more likely to have their lands acquired as compared to people in Group B. So I was listening to all of this, and of course, that's only one side of the story as presented by Major Leacock. Certainly there's another side of the story. There are always two sides of the story. You want to listen to both clearly, rip out the paraphernalia and things that don't belong, get the emotions out of the way, and listen to the facts of the case before you come to a judgment.
But Doc, how could you not, with regards to what you're saying about the passion and passionate, how can you not be passionate?
Well, you didn't listen to me, Bing. That's why I said you need to listen. Did you not hear? I said that because of the nature of the case, maybe he's entitled to his emotion and be passionate. Why don't you listen?
Well, why don't you communicate clearly enough so that I could know that?
Well, if I said it, it's up to you to listen to what I said. I made allowance for that. I said, are you entitled to passion? But at the same time, you have to understand that even in the venting of your passion, you have to be so in control, and it speaks to how you put things out there. It speaks to how salient your facts are, all of that. If you can manage certain passion and manage them well.
That is part of being passionate and emotional.
Well, when it comes
when it comes to dealing with lands it's a touchy thing.
Listen, from a learned perspective, and people are listening to you also, being so hear this. Do you think that in this expression of passion, that it serves your case well, particularly if you're viewed as an outsider, to be calling Vincentians idiots? I'm just asking you that. I don't know that there's an allowance for that. I really don't know that there is an allowance. And I don't know if you sell yourself and you sell your case well to people you want to win over when you're calling people idiots. I don't like this, and even if it's a Vincentian, because you've heard me comment on this before, I don't like divisive language like this. I don't, because of what's happening in our country.
Well, Doc, I would prefer to be called an idiot 10 times than to have my lands taken away.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
I'm hearing what you're saying. And I'm understanding what you're saying.
This is not me then, okay? Let me put it this way. This is not me. You don't go about calling people idiots. I take it, and I've heard people call Vincentian dances. I've heard various terms, and every time I've heard it, not just from Mr. Murray only, but every time I've heard it, I said, be very careful. We don't build a country by destroying its people. We don't build a country by damning its people, caricaturing its people, calling us ignorant. And I've heard one of the words, I'm trying to remember one of the words I've heard, but look, I mean, people out there have different values, and probably Mr. Murray does not upset anyone else but me. This has nothing to do with the value of his case or whatever. This has to do with a deeper value in terms of how you treat.
But it's not fair to separate them, though. It's not fair to separate.
That's your perspective. I happen to share, and I don't know how informed your perspective is. Okay, I mean, I'm serious.
How informed are yours, though?
I am saying that you can't. Your perspective says that whenever you get heated over any legitimate and genuine issue, then that you could ignore certain parameters and perimeters and.
No, what I'm saying is that we are all human beings, and when we get passionate...
Okay, Bing, I hear you. It is a law of life.
Let me finish, Doc. Please, let's have a conversation on this, because it's interesting. I'm of the opinion that we are human beings, and whenever we get passionate or emotional at a point, we say things that we would not or we should not normally say.
True.
That's what emotions and passion is about.
Absolutely true. And it is okay for someone to come back and say, well, hey, I don't think I like what you said. Fair?
That's okay.
Yeah, fair.
That's very okay.
Unless you're telling me it is okay for an outsider to come into St. Vincent with this condescending attitude and call our people idiots. If you think that...
Why does that have to come into play, though? Whether it's an outsider or an insider, why does that have to come into play?
Exactly. My point is that and every time that I've commented on this issue, I have commented when Vincentians have made these comments about other Vincentians. It is even exacerbated when someone who is not a Vincentian, because it seems now condescending because of the prevailing attitude, or some people think that we are backward and stupid. And when you have somebody who's from the outside who comes in here and with such passion call us, well, when I say us, I mean every Vincentian, we are part of a whole. So you call one idiot, you're calling all of us idiots. Now, when you talk about these idiots who are following the other idiots, it does not come across really well to me. And it is okay for me to say that I am offended by that.
That's okay. But it's also okay for me to say that my position, Doc, is that Dr. Murray was clearly angry and passionate and emotional, and he may have said some things, but why focus on that and not focus on what is really relevant?
That was my first comment, Bing. I said how that hit me. That was in his introduction also, in his introductory remarks. I think within the first minute of his presentation that came. So why within the first minute of my presentation I can't address what he addressed first? He did not address the value and the merits and demerits of his case. He went beyond that to an ad hominem attack on our Vincentian people. That was the first thing being. And if he, even with a matter that is supposedly substantial or substantive before him with the case, he chose to ignore that and launch this ad hominem attack on the Vincentian people. Clearly, if he makes it, because he's the principal here, if he makes that one of the most important points in his presentation, why should I not address it? He addressed it first. Why should I not address it first? Explain that to me. Help me to understand that, Bing. You just had to be fair. And secondly, with regards to the merits of his case, again, we heard, and I thought that Major Leacock was doing, in terms of presenting the case, Major Leacock, again, I mean, obviously, Major Leacock has a partisan position, but he was presenting his case from that partisan position. Basically, what I have often told you is motivated reasoning. Major Leacock's reasoning is obviously motivated reasoning. He's trying to show a system, a pattern. He pointed to Marcus de Freitas, he pointed to Bigger Biggs, and now he's pointing to the Murrays, and he is trying to make the case, which I thought he was, from his perspective, doing a good job of his motivated reasoning. Nonetheless, I keep telling people also, you will hear Major Leacock's case presented through his lens. He has a lens. If you listen to that position only, you will make a judgment on this case looking at the thing through one lens. You therefore now have to listen to the alternate set of facts, which, again, in our universe of truth, you have various facts that you have to weigh. It is unfair, totally unfair, to listen to the facts as presented by Major Leacock and come to a conclusion, no matter how passionately or cogently or well articulated they are. It is just not rare good practice to listen to a well-presented case and come to a conclusion. What would happen to our justice system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines if in even criminal cases you went in there, a man is accused of murder, and the prosecution puts on a fantastic case, brilliant case, and then you call the jury to make a verdict? That's nonsense. You can't do that. No matter how brilliant the case is, a defense must be mounted, and after the prosecution and defense have put their case, then you come to a conclusion. I am not going to make the mistake. If other Vincentians made this mistake this morning, it's up to them, it's on them. But I am not going to make the mistake of listening to a well put together case on a land issue brought by one side, partisan, Major Leacock, and come to a conclusion that that's all there is to it. At least let me hear the other side. Don't ask me, Bing, to come to a conclusion when I have not yet heard both sides of the issue. Should I not have the privilege of hearing both sides of the issue before I come to a conclusion?
That's a rhetorical question, isn't it?
But I'm asking, I mean, you should answer. I mean, you don't have to you could answer in your mind. Should I not? Should I not hear both? So I can't make a judgment on the merits.
Is there anything to that? I mean, the facts are as they are.
Right. And I'm presenting, Bing, back up. I've done argumentation forever since I did philosophy. I've been doing argumentation. One of the things I know that you do very well, and teaching statistics, here's one of the things we can do very well. Facts are there. Facts are malleable. And I could pick from the body of facts and the universe of facts, I can very well pick all of the facts, or let me say cherry pick all of the facts that suit my argument very well. And if even if 30% of the facts suit my argument well and 70% don't, I can ignore the 70% that are contrary to my argument, and I could cherry pick the 30% that support my argument. And when I talk to you and bring it to the table, I am bringing facts. But you know me, Bing? I am not just interested in the cherry-picked facts. I am interested in all of the facts. You understand me? So, yeah, I'm not disputing that Major Leacock and others will bring facts. But that's not to say that there are not other facts. I want to hear the other facts. How long I've been on radio trying to teach this principle, being that we are better citizens and we assess things better and we make better judgment if we don't rush, but we wait and assess not the facts that we are given by those who are making the case with motivated reasoning, but the facts that are there. And we listen to both sides, and then, of course, the other side will also cherry-pick their facts. Don't get me wrong. They do that. The other side will cherry-pick their facts. But at least let me listen to one side, the other side, and somewhere between them, if I could get even a third side of facts that both of them left out, then I can come to a conclusion. They all play this game, Bing. Not just one side. They all play this game. Okay? Just to be fair.
I don't think Major Leacock is very important. Is as important as you painting him out to be with regards to this issue.
No. He was the one presenting a case. And he has being every
he
issue
presented
can be,
one case, though,
okay,
Pastor.
Very good. Being you are good because you give me an opportunity to say something. In this election season, anything that gives you mileage for your party that can be politically armed and leveraged, go for it. And Major League being a good party man, here's an issue that if treated well, if nurtured and projected in the right direction, can give some mileage if you really leverage it. So that's what he was doing. So don't tell me Major Leacock is incidental to this. Major Leacock was leveraging it. He was. And not only that, he went beyond this to make a bigger picture and to paint a tendency of the government. He also looked at the markers. And he had facts and figures. 14 years. I listened, Bing. I listened. He said you didn't just destroy. You didn't just acquire property. You destroy the business. Then he went to bigger bigs. And he even said if bigger bigs were to just capitalize that market over there at Little Tokyo, he could not pay back. He could not redeem and get back to where he was. Major Leacock, don't tell me Major Leacock was incidental. Major Leacock was trying to leverage existing situation to the party's benefit. That's what I'm saying, Vincent. People are smart,
But Doc, I think Major Leacock is purely incidental because the real issue here, and I don't think that you're speaking to that issue. The real issue is the government move to acquire.
No, I am speaking
lands.
to that issue. Yeah, I am speaking to that issue. I've spoken to it. I said we have heard, whether from Major Leacock or from Mr. Murray, we heard a presentation. In fact, Major Leacock, I thought, was more, although Mr. Murray gave certain facts, I think because he was so very emotional, there are times when the emotion intertwined with the facts get subsumed beneath the emotion. Let me show you what I mean by that. He spent a lot of time venting about what he did for a young, which you don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. So, and then he talked about all the people, just ad hominem, these labor people dressed in the red, wasting the time jumping up and going, and then the next day they have money to put on the red and all of that, but then they come back to his office begging for help and for that. He went into a thing. You're not really presenting a case when you do that. You are venting emotions, and I just but I listened, and I am not being, let me warn us that we don't make decisions based on the power of the emotion we feel when things, we still want facts, and I don't know we got a whole lot out of Dr. Murray this morning. Certainly we got a whole lot of emotion and passion, which might be understandable, but you can't make decisions when people play your emotions like that. At the end of the day, you still want facts. Let me speak to the issue. You asked me to, let me speak to the issue. You want to gather the facts. from Dr. Murray's perspective, you want to gather the facts. You also want to gather the facts from the perspective of the government that want to, acquire. This is not a position where I am sitting here saying right or wrong. I can't. I absolutely can't. How can I when I don't know all the facts? So and people out there, be very careful. Unless you know all of the facts, neither should you, come to a conclusion. Unless you figure, well, who cares about the facts? I can come to my own conclusion. But listeners, please, don't you think that you ought to hear all of the facts?
But where are we going to get this fact, though? From the other side, though?
I'm sure that, if this becomes an issue, don't you think that the other side, especially if there could be political mileage off this, don't you think that the other side will seek to diffuse this issue?
But Doc, we have a situation where the government has moved to acquire family land. Okay, I mean.
And my position on that, please listen to me, Vincent. My position on that is, unless we are saying government cannot ever move to acquire land. This is something government can do.
No, that's
Let me
not
finish
the case.
Let me finish the sentence. My position is, again, because it can come across as high-handed or political victimization and all of that, and that can happen. Don't get me wrong, that can happen. All I'm saying, because I don't want to comment on the thing, I am saying I want to get all of the facts, and if I can get all of the facts or a good sense of what the facts are, I will be in a better position to make a statement on it. I think that is fair. Okay. I don't think I should rush to a judgment. Some might prefer that I do, but I don't think I should rush to a judgment until I hear what the facts are on the matter.
All right. We are out of time. Is there anything?
No, that is not fair to me. I don't think that is fair to me to tell me that we're out of time. You haven't given me a chance to make any commentary of my own.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mean,
don't waste time on that now. Don't waste time on that now. Let's go. Quickly. Let's move on.
No, I'm going to say it because sometimes I have things that are of interest that I want to comment on, and I don't think it is right that I should come on here and then use all of the time and address an issue that you bring up, which is sometimes peripheral to what I want to talk about. I think I should be given at least 5 minutes to say something. In the time that I have, two things that really, what I thought of even more importance this morning, and obviously I don't have the time to talk about it, matters related to school opening, window dressing, consistency, thoroughness, and conformity with respect to protocols, and why I have so many issues related to the opening of schools that I would have loved to ventilate and talk to the public about these issues. I think because thousands upon thousands upon thousands of our children are affected, that would have been a more relevant topic this morning. Secondly, I wanted to, if time permitted, to talk about something that I spoke about last week with the issuance of the caution and warning by the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission against fraudulent investment offerings. I received a ton of pushback from people who are engaged in pyramid schemes. Let me warn you again. The Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, and they know why they're saying watch for these things. These things are popping up and spreading because of opportunism, and people are going to lose lots of money in pyramid schemes when people tell you invest in these blessing schemes or gifting schemes or put your money in and then bring in more people, and people make money off this thing, especially the people who get in first. They take pictures and they show you all the money that they have made. The people who get in first in pyramid schemes always make money. But by the time you get in and try to pull in other people, and then people are alerted to what's happening, you are going to lose your money. Please, people, do not get involved in pyramid schemes. I don't have the time to go through and warn you and explain why these things will go belly up. Please hear me saying, guard your money. It is not right. It is not ethical. You are not creating a product. You're not creating a good. You're not creating value. Do not get involved in pyramid schemes. Bing, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Catch you tomorrow morning, same time. Let's do this and come right back right here on OMG.
Let's check in with the doc and look at things with a wider lens. Pastor Richards on OMG.